Hi, my name is Rüdiger Gartmann and I'm the product owner of Security Manager. In the last video I've shown you how you can actually work with Security Manager, and now I would like to show you how you can do that even more efficiently by using the command line interface. So let's take a look at Security Manager again. As you might remember, in the Service Manager you have the option of managing policies directly in here. With added permissions, you can directly go into your policy and change what you want to change. Or you can also just pick a service where Security Manager is actually not running, like the sample world city service, and then just select Activate Security Manager. But I would like to do that with the command line. So what you see here is a Json editor, and you see a folder structure. And this folder structure represents the folder structure I have on my ArcGIS server. So I have a subfolder security demos, and I have individual JSON files for each service where Security Manager is running. But in this case, I would like to create a new policy. And Sample World Cities is not in a subfolder, but in the root folder. So I create a file which is called sampleworldcities.json. And to make editing of policies easier, I refer to a JSON schema that we provide for Security Manager. And this JSON schema gives you all the templates you need to create policies very easily. So in this case, this is a policy template. We only have to fill in the layer IDs we want to authorize. This is layer 0. And refer to a role, which is a portal group in this case. This is California. Now we saved it. And when we publish this policy to our ArcGIS server, this would give the California group access to layer 0 and not to all the other layers we have in there. Furthermore, we have a global restrictions file where we can define restrictions that we don't want to define directly in the service policy, but we want to define it on a global level so that we can refer to that from different policies. So here I put in just a reference to this global restriction. And the name was also California. Have a look with a small c instead of a capital one. And here we go. Policy is created. But now we need to get the policy to ArcGIS server. And this is where we can make use of the command line interface. So we have segmentctl.exe. This is our command line interface. And when we start that with --help, we get further information about the different commands that are supported. So first we need the login command because we need a token to authenticate against the service. That requires the link to the ArcGIS server. Now I can type in my credentials. And here's the token. So let's copy it. And now we have to move that policy to the ArcGIS server. Therefore, we can either use the apply command, make it a bit larger so that you can see the results. The apply command is for publishing single policy files to an actual service on the ArcGIS server. The more powerful option is using the sync command. Again, help shows you all the different parameters you can use. And the sync command is for synchronizing my whole folder structure to the ArcGIS server. So this is not about synchronizing just a single policy. That could synchronize all the policies which I use. So let's run the sync command. First of all, I need to refer to the folder where my policies reside. Then I'm limiting that to that actual service because I don't want to change my other policies at the moment. Again, I need the link to the ArcGIS server. And I need the token. And finally, I'm adding the dry option to do a dry run first. A dry run wouldn't change anything, but just shows what would happen without the dry option. So this looks fine. Let's take away the dry option. And what's happening now is that the sync command detects a difference between my local situation and the situation on the ArcGIS server. So currently, sample world cities is unprotected. So the CLI now activates security manager to make it protected and uploads my actual policy. So let's check. First of all, sample world cities now shows the closed lock symbol. And what we see here is access permissions for layer 0 with the spatial restriction as defined before. Now we can also go over to the service manager and, for instance, find the link to the map service in here, open it in an incognito window so that I'm not logged in as an administrator anymore. So I'm logging in as somebody from the California group. And now first we can see we only see one layer, and we can just verify that in the ArcGIS Online Viewer to see the effect of the policy we just created. We see it already zooms to California. We see the cities in there, and only the cities, no other layers. We only see cities which are in California. But of course, the main purpose of the command line interface is automation. And therefore, in our documentation, you find a sample script, which I'm just taking here and creating a batch file, which are called sync.bat. I paste in the script, and I just have to adapt some parameters to my situation here on that server. First, the location of the command line interface, the segmentctl.exe, the URL of that ArcGIS server I'm using, and the root folder of my policies. And of course, the admin login, and the password in this case is stored in a text file, so I don't have to type it in here. And I limit that to that actual service because I don't want all my policies to be synced right now. So I save it. Now I can just run the script. And this now first does a login and then a sync. And in this case, nothing happens because no changes were found. But when I now change, for instance, my spatial restriction and replace California by Nevada and save it and run the script again, then we see a change is detected and the new policy is uploaded to the ArcGIS server. It takes a couple of seconds. Now it's done, and the new policy is in place. So I hope you appreciate the additional power that you get by using the command line interface. I hope you do the first steps towards automating your routine work as an administrator. So thanks for watching. Bye bye.